How to appear more confident. To answer that question, I'm going to use my brother as an example. He's a spotlight stealer, and he frequently puts out videos of himself dancing. And it's amazing how many views they get. I mean, they get more views than my videos because, again, he's a spotlight stealer and likes to shame me. Anyway, just roll the video. Okay, so that's Marty dancing. Now, as you can see, he's very confident. And he's very confident because he has a couple of moves which he recycles as the years go on and keeps using the same moves, but that's okay, they work for him. And he knows what the protocol is. He knows what the rules are. You know, so he's got the moves, he knows the rules, he's good to go. You can turn off the video. And that is what gives people confidence. If you have some moves that you're very capable of performing, you can stop the video and you know what the rules are. You know, it's kind of like when we go dancing. You can stop the video. Stop the video, you're such a spotlight stealer. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. To make this short and sweet.
Too late.
Thanks. I'm going to simply give you a verbal, vocal, and visual. All right, this is a pretty simple one, but it makes a huge difference. Remember, if you enjoy this channel and you like these videos, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to be the first to know when new videos like this come out, make sure to hit that notification bell. And that helps support us, and you'll be the first one to know when new videos like this come out. I'm going to be candidate for a job number 1. All right, I'm coming into the job interview. I'm going to grab some. Hi. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. It's good to be here.
Would you like some coffee?
No, thank you.
Are you sure? You're awfully handsome.
No, I'm okay. Really, I'm good.
All right, fine.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, that's candidate number 1. Here's candidate number 2. All right, thanks. It's good to be here.
Hey, handsome, how about a drink?
Yes, I would love one, as a matter of fact. I will have 2 creams and 2 sugars because that's just the kind of guy I am.
Ooh, be right up. You're my kind of guy.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Marry me, please.
All right. Who would you rather work with? Now, why was candidate number 2 more confident? And you would want to work with that candidate, I hope. If you want to work with candidate number 1, make sure to sign up for the courses below. Candidate number 1 came in, and by his body language, I don't know if you noticed, but I kept these are props, but I kept them on my lap because I don't want to take up too much space. I don't feel like I belong here. And I kind of sat like this, you know, with your shoulders closed, and I'm just trying not to take up too much space because I'll be out of here soon, and of course I'll be without the job. So just since it's going to be quick, let's just make it quick, short, sweet. And here I am. Okay, and then I was offered something. I said, no, thank you. No, I'm okay, thanks. Remember that there is a protocol, a fluidity to social interaction. And that's what things like etiquette and communication skills are really all about, to make other people feel comfortable because you know what the steps are and you go through them. Just like my brother makes people feel comfortable when they dance with him because he's so confident that he knows what the steps are. No matter what music they play, he's got a few moves that he can use to go with the flow. He knows that, for example, he's a huge square dancer. Like, he loves to square dance. If there's a hoedown in town, he's there. And when it comes time to change your partner, he knows how to do that and change your partner and keep dancing. Imagine if you're at a hoedown and it comes time to change your partner and Marty was the person who you were changing with, and he's like, oh, no, thanks. I'm good with this partner. Yeah, I'm good. That would make more than one person feel uncomfortable. You know, the person who tried to change would be like, I'll find someone else, I guess. Where? And his partner would also be like, I guess I'm staying here. I don't know. That is what people feel like when we reject their offer, no matter what the offer is. You know what it's like if you're in your home and you just made a batch of cookies and somebody stops by unexpectedly. And you say something like, hey, I just made these cookies. Would you like one? And they're like, oh, no, thanks. I just ate. I had a big lunch. You're like, all right. You know, when somebody honors us by offering us something and we reject that offering by saying, no, thanks. I'm good. Thanks. No, really, I'm good. There's nothing gracious about that. All it does is break the protocol and stop the fluidity for a moment. And people have to regroup and be like, oh, okay. Even if it's simple. You know, if I were the receptionist offering somebody as they sat down, would you like a glass of water? And they're to say, no, thank you. I wouldn't really think a thing of it. But it's those people who say, I would love one, thank you, and accept our offering with open arms. Those are the people we want to get another cookie for or another glass of water for because they're going with the flow. They're using the right steps. They're following protocol. and they're honoring us by accepting our offer. There's nothing gracious about not accepting when somebody offers us something. The other thing that person number 2 did, in case you didn't notice, they used the receptionist's name. I go into this in more detail in our course on how to remember people's names and how to use it effectively, different strategies to use people's names so that you remember it more and so that they feel good when they're around you. And people will be impressed. For example, if I were, I'll get to that in the course, but if you can remember the people's names who might not be of any apparent significance when we enter into, let's say, a date. If you're on a date and the server comes over and at the end of your ordering, you really be like, yep, I think that'll be it. Thank you. Thank you, John. It'll gain you huge points when you use the server's name at the end, for example, because it makes us appear to be, and hopefully we are, gracious and kind. And I pay attention and give value to and value the king and the king's servants. All the way down the board, every person I'm going to offer the same amount of courtesy to and graciousness to and respect to, because that's who I am. I bring the dignity to my social interactions. I bring the dignity to my jobs. I bring the respect to the table. And so when you can become a master really at using people's names and finding different ways to use them appropriately, that's fantastic. But also being able to say yes, that's just such a huge thing. I could do a whole episode on how many times a day people reject offerings made to them and how that just does not serve us. So be that person who, if you're sitting down at a meeting, and you sit down and someone comes up and says, hey, I've got a better seat for you up front. Be that person to say, oh, I'm with you. Here, let's go. There are some people who are always like, no, I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine, thanks. People stop offering them things because it's not fun to offer things to people who reject them. So say yes. What it shows is, I am so comfortable here. I am as comfortable here as I would be in my own home. Why? Because I belong here. If I didn't belong here, I shouldn't be here, and you're not going to want to be with me. So act like you belong wherever you are. If you feel like you don't belong there, don't go there, for heaven's sake. Okay? And this, by the way, is taken from a course that I have. I'm going to put a link to it below. And if you're interested in these courses, make sure to click the links soon because I'm only opening up pre-registration for 7 days. There's a course on how to win the battle at work if you're dealing with hell at work and you're sick of being labeled and gaslighted and gagged. Check that course out. Or if you want a more comprehensive communication program, I also have a new one. Both of these are actually new. They're pilot programs. So VIP members, these will be free for you, but they're not going to be in the regular store area. You're going to have to notify me or Jean that you wanted to attend these courses, and I'll put you on the roster. For anyone else who would, if you'd like to attend them free, just become a VIP member. And I'm going to put a bunch of links below, so I'll get to that later on. But number 2, visual. In terms of visual cues that show I am confident here, we talk about this a lot in communication courses, and I'm sure you've heard use open body language and things like that, but really look at the difference. Watch this difference, okay? I'm walking to the job interview. Hi. Yeah, thanks, thank you. Without even opening up my mouth, the visual cue that I'm giving off is, boy, I super don't belong here, so I'm not going to take up any more space than I could physically avoid. So here I am. I'm clutching to my things. If I do have to get them out of my lap, I'll put them on the floor like this. When you see people bend over like this for something under their chair, there's no reason you should ever be underneath your chair unless you want to inspect the gum. There's no reason why you should ever do that. It's not attractive, and it's a signal. I'm not comfortable here, so remember that. Look at candidate number 2 now. Okay, candidate number 2 walks in. Hi. Pull this up. There we go. Now, candidate number 2 sat down, moved the chair up to a comfortable position. What I used to do when I was a manager at Mayan Island Real Estate is I would have the chair in front of my desk, usually about 2 yards back from the desk. And when somebody would sit down in it, I would find it interesting, and I would actually use this when I would decide whether or not to work with them. Some people would sit in the chair and they would remain in the same spot the whole time, and it was super uncomfortable. It wasn't set up fluidly. So people would sit back and they would be interviewed for maybe half an hour, 2 yards away from me. And some people, when they were offered the seat, they would sit down and they would move that seat all the way up to the desk and then lean in as if they were in their own homes. And I'd think, yes, that is the person that I need on my team rather than the person who doesn't feel like they should be there to begin with. And especially I would watch as well for the people who, as they were seated and the receptionist left the room, those who would say, "Thank you, Melanie," which was about 1 out of 100 people. But I would know at that time, you're going to respect Melanie as much as I do. I don't want anybody here who's going to treat Melanie as though she's a servant, which is what most people do when they come in and they're presented with that hierarchy. It's those who decide, I don't care how you're presented to me. I'm treating you with the same respect as I would the king, Melanie. It's those people who I'd be like, yes. So remember, use people's names. Learn your server's names. Learn the receptionist's name. When somebody gives you a name, it's to use. So not only when we use it is that a bonus for us, but also we're accepting the gift. When people give us their name, they're giving us the gift of their identity for us to do something with. So use that. And remember that when you sit down, take up space. Why wouldn't I? I have dominion here. I belong here. I'm in charge. Now, not in an arrogant way, but I certainly am not a fish out of water. I've navigated these waters before. And so if I have things with me, there's furniture around us to use. So take your stuff, put it where it should be, not on the floor. Put it there if that's the only place you have to put it. Bring your chair up to where it should be. Lean forward in somebody's space. Use territorial markers. Remember that territorial markers are things like, when I sit down at a conference table, if I sit down and I notice that the people on either side of me, their stuff is overflowing into my area, remember, people know what they're doing when they do that. Don't let them take the stuff. Don't even ask. Put it out of the, in their space. Put your stuff on the table. Mark your territory. Bring stuff with you. You should never be empty-handed because you should always have things that you can use to mark your territory. I'm here. I'm taking up this space. I'm using the resources that have been graciously delivered to me to use. I'm going to accept them and say yes and use them. So remember that when you lean forward a little bit, that's saying, I'm open and ready to receive your message. You and I have a connection already. Do that, in an interview, lean forward a little bit. At least right now, for example, I'm leaning forward in my chair just a bit because there's nothing, I'm going to pretend that there's nothing in front of me. Always do that. All right. So to be confident, take up space, use the space, lean forward, have open posture, never sit like this, never lean over and put stuff under your chair. And third, remember, now you have a verbal, a visual. In terms of vocal, again, going back to my brother, he's one of the loudest people you'll ever meet. He's known for being really loud. When he laughs, when he talks, when you are with someone, let's say that you're at a restaurant, and you know how sometimes there's a table next to you where they're like, and it's uncomfortable sometimes. When people describe stories like that, they use my brother as the reference point. They'll be like, well, he's almost as loud as Marty, or he was louder than Marty. So he's loud. We all are in my family, but that's because most of us feel comfortable every place that we go. We think, well, here we are, lucky you. That's good or bad, but that's how we were raised. And all of us are loud talkers. However loud you speak now, it's not loud enough unless you're that 1 out of 100 people. What I mean by that is people will find you to be more credible, more confident, and that you believe in what you say when you say it loudly. You should be able to speak to somebody, 20 feet away from you without raising your voice. And now I say that knowing that many people will be like, oh, I don't like loud talkers. Well, fine, then be perceived as somebody who's not confident, if that's okay with you. If your goal, which I'm assuming it is if you've made it this far in the video. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video and you haven't liked it yet, make sure to like this video and comment on it. Or if you don't like it, tell me why in the comments. And if you have a question on anything so far, ask it in the comments and I will answer it in a video response like this. But remember to speak loudly. Like right now, how I'm speaking, the only reason I have a mic here is to record it. If you are giving presentations, you should be able to have 50 people, 100 people in a room without using a mic, because when you use a mic, you have to lower your own natural volume. You'll notice that many speakers, good speakers, professional speakers who give many presentations of, let's say, 100 people or so a day. Not huge. If you have an auditorium, you're going to need a microphone. But when you have 100 people in a room, the only people who use microphones are going to be people who aren't that confident, because they know what that means is I'm going to have to lower the volume. And when I lower the volume, that changes the whole dynamic of the message that I'm sending. Therefore, most professional speakers will reject the offer of a microphone if they can possibly avoid it, because that changes everything. And you should be able to speak in a room loud enough where everybody can hear you. And that's pretty much your normal volume level. So if you have found that people are not finding you as confident as you would like, remember that 99% of people are not speaking as loudly as they could to be taken seriously as a confident, powerful communicator. Confident, powerful communicators speak loudly. People, if you have people say to you things like, "What was that? How's that?" Ever check your volume level. You start yelling, feel uncomfortable about it. People should occasionally ask you, "Could you keep it down a little bit? Could you keep it down?" That means you're speaking at the right level. So speak loudly, speak proudly. There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. Say it. And say it in a way. Trust me, as a person who can't hear a lot of other people, there's nothing more aggravating than having to say to people, "What was that? Pardon me? Could you say that again? Could you speak up? I can't hear you." You know, if I have to tell people more than once, "Could you speak up, please?" What I'll do if I have the option is find someone else to talk to or listen to or get instruction from. I don't like having to tell people to speak up more than once. It's aggravating and it's insulting to me, because as the listener, I'm like, do you not think I'm worthy of raising your voice so that I can hear the message you're sending? Or do you not feel comfortable in the message and you don't want me to hear it? What's going on where you won't speak at a volume where your listener can hear you? What's with that? So remember, if somebody finds you to be too loud, they'll tell you. And they'll say, "Could you lower the volume? For heaven's sake, I'm sitting right here." That should happen to you, because if you have to choose, rather raising the volume or lowering it, choose being somebody who's asked to lower it rather than someone who's asked to raise it, because it'll serve you in so many different ways. Being somebody who's a soft talker will not serve you in any way ever. So don't do that, okay? And remember that whether you're saying it loudly or softly, in my new courses that I have coming up, I have hundreds of different tactics to help you achieve whatever your goal may be, whether it's to put difficult people in their place or get a raise or be taken more seriously at work. Check those courses out if you've been looking for one-on-one coaching or small group coaching, coaching for your entire office, or if you're looking specifically for you so that you can get different results. Remember, the communication skills that have brought you to whatever level you're at will not bring you to the next level. And remember that the people around you deserve the very best of you when it comes to your words. And I hope that you love the people around you. And I hope that they love you right back. And if that's the case, which I hope it is, I hope that you find the most loving words you can possibly say to them, because we should cherish every person that we meet, really. But we should especially cherish those that we love. So speak loving words to them. You'll be glad that you did. And no matter what the message is, you can find loving words to say it. No matter what the message is. Did you know that that's possible? If you have any challenges, that's what I'm here for. So ask me. And if you need anything, especially if you need any of these resources but can't afford it, let me know, because I will make sure that you get whatever you need that I'm able to give you, no matter what your budget is. That's important to me. So if you're here with us to raise this global dialogue out of the cosmic spiraling, toilet swirly, I'll help you do that if I can, all right? And please, if you have not done so, make sure to like this video, share it on Facebook and Twitter and wherever else people go for videos like this. I appreciate that support when you can do that. And no matter what your message is, say it in a loving way. And by the way, the next video that's coming out, you're gonna love. It's going to be about how to deliver any message in a way that's more fascinating. So if you're looking for something like that, check that out. And everyone else, I hope to see you next time here on Dan O'Connor Training. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when our next video comes out. And until then, this is Dan O'Connor here for everybody at Dan O'Connor Training saying, sayonara!